أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين سيما بقية الله الأعظم روحي وأرواح العالمين له الفداء رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي ما صل على محمد. The lessons that are learned in situations where Ahlul Bayt have been put through a great ordeal are lessons that are universal and also eternal. And to delve and to analyze those type of teachings and preachings is worth the time. Meaning we should look deeply into what is being said when the Imams or Ahlul Bayt or any member of their household are in great ordeal or in difficult times. Like for example, when we look at the death of an Imam, at the time the Imam is dying, when he has moments to live, to listen to what he says at that time, and whatever he's saying at that time is not only universal, but it's also an eternal message for everyone. Obviously, the Imam, if he knows that he has 5 seconds to live, then that 5 seconds he would put all his imamat into that 5 seconds. And hence, this is how Ahlul Bayt, when you look at it throughout, they went through trials and they spoke of these things at that time. Especially the ordeal of Karbala. When you look at Karbala, each and everything that was told at that moment and in those times, you see the value of that is immense. And Allah gives a lot of credence to that. There's a lot of credence that Allah gives to Karbala and things that have been said at that time, and those were said for a reason, for a purpose. It's not just that they said it because it's emotional or it's, something that came to their mind. It was something that is well thought of, and it's from a wisdom that is eternal. It comes out like that. Anything that happened in Karbala. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. The reason being, simply in short, is this, that you look at all the Imams, you look at all of Islam, throughout from the Prophet till our last Imam. Look at all of their lives, and you will see that in every life of the Imams, and in every time and opportunity that they had to teach Islam, there was some sort of cloud or doubt around what's going on. I mean, look at Imam Ali being like, how clear can you get? But people were in doubt. They were trying to make a choice between Imam Ali and Muawiyah. They didn't know who to choose. And they still don't know who to choose. If both Imam Ali and Muawiyah are alive today, you'll see the majority will choose Muawiyah. Am I right or wrong? Think about it. Only a handful of people will choose Imam Ali. So, yeah, there you go. So what happens is that when you look at these sort of situations, if Imam Ali said something, then it was like the message was clouded. And hence there was a difficulty understanding it. It's up to interpretation. Right? So now what happens, Allah wanted to find a ideal situation where this lens is so clear that the message that comes out of it will have no doubt in it. And that lens was Karbala. That lens was Karbala, and the lessons that were given in Karbala, Allah wanted everyone to pay attention to that, because that's the clearest message of Islam that existed. That's why in every occasion it is said, go and do the ziyarat of Imam Hussein. You have Eid, it says, read the ziyarat of Imam Hussein. Go to Hussein. You have, all kinds of occasions in Islam, and in every occasion, the recommendation of the Imams is, go to Karbala, go to Imam Hussein. Why? Because that is where Islam is learned in the most clearest manner. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And now when we come to the life of Bibi Zainab, Hazrat Zainab salamullah alayha, her life from the beginning till the end is a life that is full of adversities and difficulties and suffering and so many stories. Such amazing life that she led. But, unfortunately, there's only 2 sermons and speeches that she gave that are written down. She used to teach Islam in Kufa to the women there, right? But there's only 2 speeches of her, words of her that are written down. One was in the court of Yazid in Sham, and the other one was in Kufa. 2 of them actually were in Kufa. One was in the court of Ibn Ziyad, which wasn't big, but there was one on the streets of Kufa. On the streets of Kufa. And that is a little bit closer to us. The one that she spoke in Yazid's court is about Yazid, it's Mal'un, tyrant, all of that. But the speech that she gave in Kufa is interesting. It's about people. That a little bit I want to shed some light on that. And then we'll go into a little bit of her life, and that's it. As it is a weekday, and inshallah I just want to keep it short so that you understand it. So the khutbah and the sermon of Bibi Zainab on the streets of Kufa, not in the court of Kufa or the in front of Ibn Ziyad or in front of Yazid, no, on the streets of Kufa. This is the sermon that has been recorded. So that's something I want to just shed a little bit light on so that we understand Bibi Zainab in a very, true understanding. Send us salawats. Now, just to give you an introduction to the sermon as to what happened. When you look at as Ahlul Bayt were brought into Kufa as hostages, and they were brought to a market, an intersection of the market where everyone was gathered. Now the people got to know that this is the family of Ali that has been killed, the Ali and Fatima's children and family and this and that. So many of those people were Shias in Kufa. And when they heard what happened, they came, and it was like a crowd of people, men, women, children. And the women were crying out loud. They were shouting. They were wailing. You know how when they see someone go through what they have seen, it's amazing, it's shocking for them. Shocking to see this happen. That the daughters of Rasulullah are in chains, captives. So they were crying, and the men were crying. So as this was happening, and when Ahlul Bayt were brought in, and you know that Imam Sajjad was the only man in between all of these, and as Imam Sajjad came and he heard these people cry, and he knows that these are our people. They're not on the other side, the people who are crying. These are Shias. These are people who were with Imam Ali. These are people who are lovers of Imam Ali, and they are with them. So when he heard them cry, Imam Sajjad softly spoke these words. Imam Sajjad said that, Aunt Zainab, if these people are crying, then who killed our father? Who killed our family? Aren't these the people who killed my father? They are responsible. And just, I mean, that statement is needs to be, there are books to be written on that. Shias were crying and he's saying, these are the ones who killed my father. Now obviously, he's not absolving Yazid of his crimes or Ibn Ziyad or anything, no. He's talking to these people who he's surrounding with, and at the moment, he's identifying that these are the people who are responsible for my father's death. These are the people. And when Bibi Zainab heard him say that, she put a hand on his shoulder, meaning asking him to sit down or step back. And then she started speaking. She started speaking. That's something I want to say, right? And right away, as everyone was crying and all these things, and she just with one stern voice said, Uskut. She said, shut up, to all these people. Just said, shut up. And they were like, and it is said that when she said that, it became so quiet you can hear the people breathing. It fell like a dead silence. And then she started speaking. So I gave you the whole environment now. The crowd is there, Ahlul Bayt are there, Imam Sajjad is there, and now Bibi Zainab starts to speak. Let me read this few lines, not too much. And one of the issues that we see, one point before I even get into that, one of the things that we see that is very dangerous, crying for Imam Hussein, you know the importance of that. And you know how valuable that is. Imams have, so much emphasis. One tear for Imam Hussein is Jannat. It is like Jannat is wajib. And there's, and to condemn someone who's crying, who are we to do that? And here you see that Bibi Zainab condemned this crying. She condemned this crying. We need to differentiate between crying that is mentioned and done by imams and who have been advised us to do it, and crying that is worthless for Imam Hussein. There has to be a need to differentiate between the two. Crying that is for Imam Hussein, yes, that's different. But there's some crying that Ahlul Bayt have condemned, like Bibi Zainab is condemning right now. She's condemning this crying. He says, shut up, stop crying. Imam Sajjad is saying to them, why are you crying when you killed us? So amazingly, like for example, there are a lot of people who read the Quran, but the Quran is sending lanat on them. We have hadith. Rasulullah said, Rubba qari'ul Quran wal Quran yal'anu. How many reciters of the Quran are there that the Quran is sending lanat on them? Sending lanat on them. Those who pray, not everyone who prays is good. Even Allah sends la'nat on some people who pray. He says, Wailun lil musallin. Quran is saying. La'nat on these people who are praying. Some people who pray, Allah is sending la'nat on them. So just like that, some people who are crying, their crying is worthless. Right? And that is where Bibi Zainab, She stops them. I mean, who are we? We cannot do that. We don't have the ability or the maqam or the place to condemn crying, whether it's right or wrong. We are like, we don't know. But Bibi Zainab, she's the only one who can do this. And that's why the sermon is so amazing. It is so revealing that we just look at it. And what is she doing here? In this sermon, she is giving a description of Kufa, people of Kufa. Now, obviously, you heard a lot of things about Kufi, right? Jokingly or not. Whatever you have heard, right? But it comes from these sort of hadiths that we have. But Bibi Zainab's description, this is what I want to just go into right now. Send a salawats. The most accurate analysis of Kufans, a description that she gives. She starts off by saying, Ya Ahl al-Kufa, O Kufans, O people of Kufa. Ya Ahl al-Khatl wal-Ghadr wal-Khazl. O people who are deceitful, cheaters, deceitful. Khatl means to, cheat someone, to deceive someone. Ghadar from Ghaddari. Ghadre, treacherous. You are treacherous. Three. And then she says, wal khazle, low lives, scum, characterless. With three qualities, she just starts talking to these people. Right away, three qualities are mentioned. So in this sermon, she gives a description of a personality that we should try not to be. Basically, that's it. Because if we become that, then obviously the consequence is dangerous. The consequence is dangerous. And this is why she's saying that first, you are people who deceived. And she mentions the reason why. She says, you promised help to someone and then you abandoned him. This is the reason you're treacherous, you're deceitful. You made a promise to Imam Hussein that you're going to help him, and then you deserted him. You abandoned him. Friends, this is a quality in a person that if he has this quality, there's no way that he can be with Imam Hussein. In fact, he would be an enemy of Imam Hussein. You can't be like that. If you make a promise, you have to keep that promise. You have to feel bad if you are not able to keep. Sometimes, yes, we make a promise we can't keep. But at least be open and be sad that I could not keep this promise. I'm sorry. Be open about it. Feel bad about it. But, alhamdulillah, when we talk to our brothers, for example, they make a promise. And then and when you remind them of it, they're like, oh, I forgot about it, and that was last week. You have to keep promises. So not keeping promises is the first quality of Ahl al-Kufa. Well, she goes into, and I'm just going to give you 4 qualities that she mentions in short, and that's it for today, I will not go more than that, so that we learn a little bit about what not to be. And this sermon, she is describing this very clearly. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. He says, Atabkuna, he says, are you all crying? He says, are you all crying? He says, I will make dua to Allah that Allah never stops you from crying. He says, you will always cry. You Kufis, you will always cry for Hussein. I will make dua for you, that Allah never takes this crying away from you. He never takes this crying away from you. And you will see this. Kufis are even crying today. This is dua of Zainab. He says, I will make sure, I will pray to Allah that He will not stop you from this crying of yours. Subhanallah. Your example is like the example of someone who has cotton and turns cotton into thread and then wants to turn the thread back into cotton. You know what that means? It's meaning that you made a mistake and you're trying to undo it, but it's too late. Too late, you can't do it. You already made the pie, and now you want to take it back into raw material. It doesn't work. You already killed Hussein. I'm sorry, it doesn't work now to turn it back. That page cannot be erased. It's over for you all. That's strike 3. Imam Hussein was strike 3. Imam Ali was strike 1. Imam Hussein was strike 2. And Imam Hussein was strike 3. That's it. End of the game for you. You're out. That's what Bibi Zainab is saying. The end of the line for you all. That's it. Now let me describe you to the people, the world, so that the world knows your actual face, so they don't end up making the same mistake you did. So Bibi Zainab is saying there's no chance for you all. That's it. You all are going to be like this forever. No, there's no chance for guidance for you all. Well, there is one door open. If they go back and they send lanat on their forefathers who did this to Imam Hussein. But if they're still proud of their forefathers, then, that lanat continues. Now, who are these people? It's very interesting what she says. Now she starts to describe them. She says, Ala wa hal fikum illa salaf. First quality that you all have, first quality you have, you all brag. You know bragging? You do a little bit of good and that's it. You will tell everyone in the world, hey, listen, we did it. Your achievements are like nothing. But what a little you achieve, you want everyone to know about it. You make it so big. See, this is a quality that she's describing. I don't have time to go into these in depth, but these are amazing things that we all need to learn and be aware of. Because if we don't, it really comes back to bite us. Little things that we do, we are like bragging about it so much. Anything, small thing. I've seen it, For example, you'll see, if someone writes a book about Imam Hussein's name is in smaller fonts and the author's name is in bigger fonts, What is that? This is like, I did this. Well, what is this wrong with you? This is Ahl Kufa. This is the first quality that she mentions of Ahl Kufa. You are people who brag. Little things that you do. Imagine if you actually did something. Imagine if you came out and really helped Imam Hussein. And you will be owning everyone. You'll be owning everyone. You'll be like putting everyone down. Bragging about yourself. Really look at you. I'll give it, example, where you can see that. And I've heard this, and that's why I'm giving this example, right? You will hear this a lot of times, that some people are proud that there are 6 imams buried in Iraq. We have 6 imams. I said, really? Do you all know the reason why there are 6 imams who are killed over there? Right, you killed the 6 imams. That's why they're there. What is wrong with you all? Why are you bragging? That's not something to brag about. But you see the quality Bibi Zainab is mentioning. You have the habit of bragging. Even you haven't done anything, it's not even yours. Something that you did, but you will brag about it. My friends, we have to be careful. I've seen this. If I did something in the masjid, for example, I did something for the center. I brought, let's say, a rug. One of the rugs, I donated. Let's say, So now, every time someone comes there and says, do you like that rug over there? Why are you pointing to that rug there? Because I did that. Listen, why do you use that? If you did it, Allah knows it, relax. One of the qualities that Kufis have, and by Kufis I don't mean, those people who live in this Kufa. No, it's a metaphor. It's a metaphor for these people who have these characteristics. Right? And our job is to make sure that we are not those types. If I did something for Ahlul Bayt, I want the ajr from Allah. I don't want it from the people. Yes, I love mu'mineen, I want to do it for them, but the ajr is going to come from Allah. The praise will come from Allah. That's it. So, bragging, number one quality. Send the salawats. Second quality, ujub. Now, again, as I said, I don't have time to go in details of these things, otherwise it'll take a long time. Ujub is like pride. Pride when you do something. For example, if you're doing good things, this and that, the natural disease for good believers is ujub. That is what shaitan brings to you. Vanity. He brings that to you. If he cannot misguide you through havas and through temptations and through sins and other things, then if you become good and become muttaqi and become a good person and mashallah, good Shia and all these things, then he comes to you with ujub and says, mashallah, you're such a great man. You're so good. You must be going to Jannat. You have to go to Jannat. Who else cries more than you? Who else sheds tears more than you? Look at you, mashallah. People take your example and say, mashallah, look at him. His crying is like, And that's how shaitan comes. And when he puts ujub into you, it destroys everything. It destroys everything. We have hadith from our imams that says, guna, a guna, ma'siyat, a sin that makes you humble is better than ibadat that makes you arrogant. That makes you proud. Pride is so ugly. He says, it was better if you had gone somewhere and did something wrong and then become humble before Allah and said sorry. Then for you to do this worship and ibadat and do this service and all these things and become proud. This is what shaitan was like, right? He had that ujub in him. Listen, I am the guy in Jannat, Everyone is sitting around shaitan doing wah wah, subhanallah, and he's like, on the chair, on the mimbar, going on, with his speeches and all that. That was shaitan in Jannat until he was kicked out. That's it, he was gone. My friends, this is what happens. This is ujub. Ujub is dangerous, ugly. So this is the second thing she says, that you, Ahle Kufa, have ujub in you. You served Imam Ali. You served Imam Hassan, but because of that, now you have proud that we served this much. And it's okay, relax. Any minute it can be gone. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Yes. Because when a person has ujub, his aql stops working. And really, your aql stops working because now you're into that mode. Once you get into it's an intoxication. Your aql cannot think when you have ujub. When you're like thinking, I'm good. I have to be good. I do all these things, Nobody comes. I come to every program. I'm like this, but okay. Always understand this very much. Bibi Zainab, after all that happened in Karbala, if there's anyone who had, you can say a maqam or a opportunity or a place to be proud of what has happened, to give sacrifice as the whole family, it would be Bibi Zainab. But she came and she dropped on her knees and begged Allah, Allah, please accept this small sacrifice from us, from Ahlul Bayt. This Hussein is a small sacrifice we're giving for you. Imagine that. And she's like, what do you mean, ujub? We have not given anything. It's Allah who's giving everything. I remember once, Iran, when the revolution happened, and there were so many people being killed in Iran, right? So, there was a program on TV, right? And this was when Ayatollah Khomeini was alive. when he was alive, he was like sitting, he was going to speak, but the introductory speaker, he came there and he was speaking to Iranians and he was saying that, mashallah, we Iranians have sacrificed so much and we have given so much for Islam, this and that. Imam Khomeini, who was listening, stopped the guy and he said, we haven't given anything yet. What are you talking about? My hichi na dadim. We haven't given anything. What are you being this proud about? It's Allah who has given us everything. Where is your mind? This, my friends, knowing that, what are you being proud of? Allah is giving you the tawfiq to give shahadat. You're not giving anything. Allah gave you this tawfiq. That all from Allah. Thank Him and be like humble. Allah, thank you for giving me this chance. This is the right way to deal with ujub, to always make ourselves understand that. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The third quality of Ahlul Kufa is hating without reason. You see that some people have a habit of just hating. Hating, and there's no reason for them to hate. You just don't like someone, that's it. You just don't like him, whatever it is. I don't like his smile, I don't like his face, whatever it is, right? Just hating for no reason. For example, a racist person, he just hates for no reason. Why are you hating on someone? Well, that's it, that hatred is there. This, she's saying, you Kufans have this quality. You Kufans have this quality that you hate someone for no reason. Well, yes, if you have a reason, for example, if you have done something wrong or did something wrong or did something bad or ugly, this and that, then you say, you're a bad person, all that. Okay, that's one thing. Guy, he hasn't done anything of his own choice, for example, I don't know, he is, like, for example, from that nationality. That's not his choice to be of that nationality. He is, I don't know, dark. Is that his choice to being dark or whatever it is? From a different background, that's not his choice. So why are you hating on him for? This hatred for no reason. You see this a lot of times. Unfortunately, if you want to see such behavior, come for me in Hajj. You'll see it a lot there. You'll see people just hate, you just because you're not Arab, and that's it. You're not equal to them. So what happened is that this is Kufa. People of Kufa have this. He said, you hate for no reason. You have this hatred in you. It's something to dwell on, but as I said, I don't have time to dwell on that. Send salawat, please. MashaAllah. And the last one I'll mention is that you are sycophants, flatterers, tamalluk. This is in you. You are tamalluk. You are just like, flattering. When you see someone strong, you're like always smiling in front of them. Yeah, when you see someone like this and you're like, oh, yes, you're the boss, You're good, you're this, you're that. Why? First, don't make yourself like that in front of anyone. Imam Ali also did not like anyone who would behave like that in front of him. This is Imam Ali. He never liked this behavior of you, for example, just like being around Maulanas, Oh, Maulana, mashallah, mashallah, mashallah. Stop it. This is not what Rasulullah liked or Imam Ali liked. Where did we get this from? This is Ahl Kufa. Ahl Kufa. That's where cults come from. You take a personality and you start worshipping him. Cults come from that. Ahl Kufa form these things. Abu Musa Ashari. Abu Musa Ashari in Kufa. What happened with him? He was like that, that they made an idol out of him, who now was made to stand up against Imam Ali. Right? He was made to stand up against Imam Ali. He himself was a fool. But they made an idol out of him because of this behavior. Behavior like that. There's no reason for that. Respect is in one place. Respect is in one, not tamalluk. Not being a sycophant or a cult follower or something like that. Imam Ali wanted And Ahlul Bayt want people who are intelligent, who are able to listen, and when they don't understand something, ask questions regarding it. Don't just accept anything that we say. Understand what we are saying and then accept it. Know what we are saying is right. That's the truth. Then accept it. And know what's happening. So what happened is that, for example, Imam Ali was speaking in Kufa. When he spoke there in Kufa, what happened is that everyone who was listening, Imam Ali told the crowd in Kufa, his majlis, his audience, he told them, you are the audience I don't like. I don't like you as an audience. Imagine if I tell you, listen, we are paying Maulana, and he's telling us he doesn't like us. My friend, understand this. Imam Ali tells that to the people. How bold can you be, just telling people like that? And he gave the reason. He says, you know why? Because when today you're listening to me and saying yes, yes, yes to me, tomorrow, when some na-ahl will sit on the same mimbar, you will do the same thing to him. Just because he sits on a mimbar. So your importance is not the person or what he's saying. Your importance is the mimbar. Whoever sits on it, good or bad, will take it. This is what happens to us, when you, for example, invite anyone to come on the mimbar. The mimbar is finished. Now that mimbar becomes the mimbar of Yazid. Anyone sits on it. This is responsibility to make sure that the person who sits here he is Ameen of Ahlul Bayt and doing amanat to Ahlul Bayt. And making sure that this is for that. And this is, one of the things. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So, all these 4 things, if you put all those 4 things together that I mentioned, 4 things that I mentioned. 1, ujub. 2, hating without reason. 3, bragging. And 4, flattery. If all these 4 things are put in one person, that is known as a Kufi. That is a description of a Kufi. Who is a Kufi? He has these 4 qualities. Bibi Zainab is mentioning that. 4 qualities that a person of Kufa has. That needs to be avoided. Why? Because people of Kufa, in the words of Bibi Zainab and Imam Zainul Abidin, are responsible for killing Imam Hussein. And we don't want to be that. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. That's it. That's all I wanted to mention. And now we'll just go to Bibi Zainab. Really, after she spent, because Bibi Zainab saying these things, really, imagine Bibi Zainab, right, in Kufa. This is 3 days after Ashura. 3 days after Ashura, when she has just seen her whole family being massacred, disrespected, their bodies being mutilated, disrespected, insulted, and she being in chains and being in captivity, and tired, no water, no food. With all of that, she has the ability to stand up in a crowd and speak to them. Really, my friends, Bibi Zainab is herself a mu'jizah. Her existence is a mu'jizah. How did she go through that? You know where Imam Zainul Abidin started to cry because of Bibi Zainab? When he saw that Bibi Zainab is making her namaz sitting down. You know what that means? Is that she was so exhausted and tired, she didn't have the energy to stand up. Bibi Zainab, why would she sit down? She would put all her energy in her namaz. But she was sitting down. La ilaha illallah. What can I say, my friends? Some things were important for Bibi Zainab. in the court of Yazid, when Ahlul Bayt entered the court, Imam Sajjad says, right, there's something, they asked him, what can't you forget from this ordeal? When he said, Asham, 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 he said, what about Sham was so hard and difficult and all these things? He says, Imam Sajjad says, there's one thing I cannot forget. It doesn't leave my mind. In Sham, there's one thing, it doesn't leave my mind. We were outside the court of Yazid, his darbar. We were outside, and they were kept at a place where slaves were sold. So everyone thought that these are slaves to be sold. That's why you have that hadith. Someone came and saw Fatima Kubra and said, I want to buy that girl, And Bibi Zainab got in the way and said, no. Who are you to buy? Yeah, us. So that hadith is because of that, because everyone thought that they were slaves. They were put intentionally in a place where everyone would look at them as slaves that you can buy. And then Imam Sajjad says that a voice came that said, bring Zainab into the darbar. When I heard that has shaken me till today. That Zainab was called to come inside the darbar. I don't know if you know the heaviness of this sentence. It is shaking Imam Sajjad. Imam Sajjad is saying, I cannot forget that Bibi Zainab by her name was called in a meeting of non-mahram men, of alcoholics in vineyards. She was called in by her name, and Ahlul Bayt are sitting there. She was called there. And as we all went inside, they were put to one side. And then after that, Shimr took, and he was giving now the details of what happened. Yazid asked, Shimr gave the details of what happened in Karbala. He was going through the story. He said that we did this to them, and we did this to them. We killed them here, we killed them there. As he was speaking all of that, he said, we killed Abbas. We killed his son Ali Akbar. And every time they were mentioning all the names he mentioned, he went through that. He said, at first we killed all the leaders that they brought. Habib ibn Mazahir, Muslim ibn Osajah. He was taking all the names, giving a whole detailed report as to what had happened. When he came to Imam Hussain, he said, we killed Hussain. He was thirsty, he was nothing, and we killed him. And then when he said about Imam Hussain, then Bibi Zainab said, Usqud ya kadhab ibn kadhab. Shut up, O liar, son of a liar. Shut up. And then when they heard that noise in the darbar, they said, who was it? Who shouted this out? They said, this is Zainab, the daughter of Ali, the sister of Hussain. And then Yazid was then surprised, and he says, I want to hear. Everyone started saying, we want to hear her speak. We want to hear her side of the story. And then Zainab started to talk and said, you liar, you said that you killed Hussain just like that. Hussain, before you killed him, has killed every member from each household of Kufa. Kufa is crying because Hussain killed so many people before you can get to Hussain. Yazid asked Shimr, is this correct? Did Hussain fight like that? And then, Shimr there in that court said, yes, I've never seen someone fight like Hussain did in Karbala. Never seen someone fight like Hussain did in Karbala. And then now Yazid wanted to ask Zainab. He asked Zainab, tell me, what was the most difficult time for you? What was the most difficult time for you? He wanted to hear her cry. He wanted to hear her so that she can feel that pain, that she might say, it was Ali Akbar when she died. It was Hussain when he was beheaded. Or it was like this, like that. He wanted to make her squirm in her pain and wanted to see her. So he asked her, what is the most difficult time for you in all this ordeal? She said, you want to know what's the most difficult time? My most difficult time is me standing here talking to a scumbag like you. When she said that, In that space, she said that. He was shut up. They had nothing to say to Bibi Zainab. Bibi Zainab stood there in that minute. And then they came here. They came there with a whip in order to hit her because she was insolent towards Yazid. They came with a whip to hit her. And Fizza came forward. They hit Fizza with that whip. When Fizza was hurt with that whip, she told the guards who were also from Habash, from Ethiopia, her background. She said, don't you have any shame? A woman from your background is here, from your tribe is here being beaten and insulted like this, and you're standing there and you're taking this. So those guards that were there, they said, Yazid, don't touch Fizza. She is from our people. This lady is from our people. Don't touch that. And when she said that, imagine what went through Zainab's heart. That Zainab is standing there. The daughter of Rasulullah is standing there. And no one is there to ask that the daughter of Rasulullah is sitting here and coming to beat her. سيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون يا محمود بحق محمد يا الله بحق يا علي يا فاطر السماوات بحق فاطر يا محسن بحق ياسر يا قديم الأحسان بحق يحسن الله. Give us the tawfiq to be on the right path. Give us the wisdom to understand your guidance. Hasten the reappearance of Imam. Make us his helper when he comes. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. ماتم حسين.